Let's get started. Is everybody seeing the slide? Michelle, are we seeing the slide?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Okay, so welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us. For the next hour, we're going to talk about something most chambers overlook. It's your publication. Not the layout, not the design, not the ad sales pitch. It's the role a publication can play in your chamber's overall strategy. I'll take you through a framework, give you 7 practical tips, which you'll also get as a PDF, and end with the one thing that you can do this week to move the needle forward. I'm Ed Burzminski, and I'm president of Chamber Marketing Partners. We've been helping chambers of commerce produce relevant publications as non-dues revenue assets since 2010. And our core business is being a resource and a project manager for chambers that are producing their publications in-house or those who want to convert to in-house. We also do a small number of turnkey projects. And personally, I've been producing publications for chambers of commerce since 1991. And I believe I'm the only vendor that's gone through and graduated from WACE's Academy program. Okay, enough about me. Let's dig in. So let me start with where every publication should start, with a question. What is your publication really doing for you? Let's sit with that for a second. Not what it does at the surface. Yeah, it gets produced, the ads get sold, and issues get distributed, or they sit in the storage room. But what is it exactly doing? And for a lot of chambers, honestly, the answer really is it checks a box. It generates some revenue, it lists the members, and boxes sometimes sit in a storage unit or the conference room. And then when it's time to do another one, the boxes get thrown out. It's the way it's always been done, people say, and everybody moves on. But when a chamber publication is positioned right, it can also be so much more. Positioned the right way, a chamber publication plays 3 strategic roles. One, it reinforces the chamber's value. It shows what the chamber actually does, so businesses see the chamber's value proposition. And second, it promotes the members and the community. And third, it generates real, consistent non-dues revenue, not as a goal, but as an outcome. So there's 3 roles. Okay, so here's the framework I want you to carry out of this webinar. Most chamber publications fall into one of 3 categories. One is the reference. It's a directory. It lists, it has lists and ads. There's no real point of view. 2 is the ritual. Oh, this is the way we've always done it. And it's usually kind of a jumble of a whole bunch of different stuff and listings. And then number 3 is the asset. It has a defined audience, a defined message, and it creates a journey for the readers. So as we walk through the next slides, ask yourself honestly, which category is my publication in? Okay, so tier 1 is the reference. This is a Yellow Pages approach for those of you who are old enough to remember the Yellow Pages. It's a directory of members, categories, and phone numbers with ads nested among the listings. There aren't any articles, there's no real reader journey, there's no point of view. Maybe a couple of yearbook pictures with headshots of board members, and who really cares about that other than the board members? The chamber story is barely visible, if at all, in the chamber's own publication. And advertisers buy in the same way that they bought into the Yellow Pages ads because that's where the listings are. It's transactional, it's not strategic. Now, it's not a bad publication, it's just a limited one. Kind of a dinosaur, actually, since online is really built for listings. And who doesn't use Google or whatever to look up listings for stuff? So if this is you, you're leaving a lot on the table. Tier 2, the ritual. The tell is a single sentence you've probably said to yourself. We have to do the directory again. Those words, have to, tells us everything. It's a ritual publication that's usually a jumbled mix of articles and ads and listings and committee pages and board photos. It's produced because it's always been produced that way. And the content, does this sound familiar? Just pick up the content from last year's book. Nobody's going to read it anyway. Here's the diagnostic. Ask some staff and maybe some board members and some key stakeholders about your publication. Ask, who is this for? And what's the one thing we want them to walk away with? Now, if everybody has a different answer, or maybe they can't even answer that question, you might have a ritual publication on your hands. And don't fret, many chambers live in this space. Tier three. Now, this one's the asset. It's built by answering three questions first. You know who it's for, you know what your messaging is, and you know how it's reaching that particular audience. Every page leads somewhere on purpose, and the chamber is why it exists, not as a section or a letter, but as an engine. Here's what changes when you reach this level or this category. Revenue stops being the goal, revenue becomes the outcome. Advertisers stop being hunted and they start calling you because the publication has earned its way into their marketing process. I'll tell you a story about that, exactly that, in a few slides. So, how do you actually get to that tier three, that third category? It starts with a planning tool that's almost embarrassingly simple. It's just three questions. Who's your audience? What do we want to say to them? And how are we going to reach them? That's it. It's simple. It's deceptively simple because the real work isn't asking the questions, it's answering the questions with specificity. So let's go over each one. Question one, who's our audience? The ritual answer is our members in the community. Okay, well, that's pretty vague. It could describe any chamber publication, which actually means it describes none of them. The asset answer is specific. New residents relocating from another state, existing small business owners, prospective corporate relocators. Maybe it's high income tourists that are staying for more than a week. Maybe we're targeting leisure travelers, those that are in town for business and extend a few days for pleasure. Your audience determines everything downstream: the tone, the topics, the channels, the ad inventory, what you're going to sell, even the size of the publication. But if you skip this step, nothing else really works as well as it could. Okay, so question two. What do we want to say to them? That's the key, is the messaging has to be relevant to the audience. Looking from inside out, which is the ritual move, this is what it sounds like. Here's what the chamber does. Here are our programs. Here are our committees. Here are our staff. It talks about features. It can read like an annual report because honestly, sometimes they are an annual report. But from the outside in, which is where the asset move is, it sounds different. Here's why this community is worth betting your business on. It talks to the audience about what matters to them, about what's in it for them, how it benefits them. The chamber still shows up in the content, but as the engine, as the driver, not the subject. All right, so question three, how will we reach them? What's the format? What's the frequency? How often are we going to do it? What's the channel that we're going to connect with them through? It's chosen to fit the audience, to connect with them where they are. Print, an annual guide, or a quarterly magazine, it's a high trust publication. It's visible, it has a long usable life, and it's best for like residents, people relocating, newcomers, visitors, that kind of thing. Then the digital component, a digital magazine or a content hub, that's searchable, that's shareable, that lives online 24/7. So with both a print and a digital extension, they've got to work together. They've got to be together. You connect with the people where they are and how they're consuming their information. The print anchors the trust. The digital extends the reach and broadens visibility. QR codes, among other things, link the two of them together. A quick note for chambers struggling with their value proposition. Print is very cash intensive, which means printing can be really expensive and it requires a bunch of cash. If your chamber's value proposition is weak, then a publication may not reach the goal you want it to. Don't be afraid of the cash. Plan for an asset publication first. Now, I've talked with several chambers over the past 12 months who've wanted to produce a magazine because they thought it would help the chamber grow. They were more smaller chambers. But then I asked them, okay, if I'm a business in your town, why should I join your chamber? How does it benefit me? What's in it for me? Now, the right answer should be, I'd love to tell you about that, but would you mind telling me a little bit about your business first? Or another good answer would be, I'd love to tell you, but tell me, what are some of the things that are currently holding your business back? Okay, those are two really good answers to the question, why should I join? Instead, I usually get a list of features. We've got mixers, we've got networking events, you can meet other business people, you got marketing and sponsorship opportunities. And honestly, if you don't ask anything about me and my business, I could care less about that stuff. Or maybe I do, but you don't know unless you ask. Some chambers have even struggled to come up with features. So if you're in that space, I'd suggest you build a value proposition first for your chamber. Use your website, bolster the website with benefits, not features. Use social media to build the chamber's value proposition, then layer in the print. A little later in this presentation, I'll share a powerful tip that can help you build a strong value proposition. Now, you notice I was saying benefits and features. There's an old adage, features tell, benefits sell. We'll do a whole nother webinar on features and benefits. Okay, those three questions aren't just a planning tool. The answers create your sell story to sell advertising, what audience your ad will reach, what the messaging is for that audience, and how your ad connects with them, how it gets to them, where they're going to be. Answer these three questions, and you're building your advertiser pitch at the same time. It's the same work, it's two payoffs. This is why asset publications generate more revenue, not because they hustle harder, because they've done the work and the pitch is already written. Okay, I want to tell you a story. Years ago, I was working with the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce, yes, the Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, on their community guide. And one day, a real estate broker called us. It was an advertiser, not in response to an ad campaign and not during the ad renewal season. It was just a cold call. He said, "This is the most comprehensive overview of Beverly Hills I've ever had. I give them to my high-end home buyers and prospects. Can I order a few more boxes?" He called because the guide had earned its way into his sales process. And that's what an asset publication does. And I've watched this pattern play out for more than 30 years now. The publications that get this right don't chase advertisers. The advertisers end up chasing them. As an aside, selling really isn't about pitching. It's more about solving problems and asking questions before making a pitch. Clearly, a problem was solved for this real estate broker. And sometimes, yeah, we're forced to make a pitch. I know I'm talking a little bit about selling. Sometimes we're forced to making a pitch. So having done the asset class work, the pitch is clear and concise. And you can use it as an example, just like this one. Oh, well, tell me about the publication. Well, this guy from Realtor in Beverly Hills, blah, 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 blah. That's a powerful story. And it'll either resonate with somebody or not. And if it doesn't resonate with them, the salesperson gets a no and they get the opportunity to move on. Makes their job easier. One more quick story. We're currently helping the Malibu Pacific Palisades Chamber of Commerce in California produce a publication. And it started out as a visitor and community guide. Then mid-project, there was a devastating fire that wiped out almost all of Pacific Palisades and some of Malibu. So there was a delay in the publication, and the focus was shifted. Still a visitor's guide and community guide, but we added in a rebuild section where renovators and contractors could advertise. Why? Because we changed the value proposition of the guide. The guide is now, it's mailed to businesses and residents in Pacific Palisades. Yeah, I know it was wiped out, but because they have forwarding addresses at the mail post office, it reaches those people where they move to, connecting those contractors with the people who need their services. So you see, that was kind of adapting to the environment, and that attracted these contractors. Okay, let's zoom in on one more strategic point. The chamber is why the publication exists, not as a section, not a welcome letter from the president, but the engine. The ritual treatment looks like this. You have a president's letter, you have a board page, so you have some headshots. You've got a committee list, you've got member listings. Okay, we've all seen that. The asset treatment looks different. Success stories are woven throughout the content. Member voices are proving the value. Committee outcomes are described instead of the committee names. You use examples. You're showing readers what's in it for them. The chamber is visible in most sections, not as the, hey, we're the chamber and we're so great, but here's something that benefited a member or benefited the entire community. As an example, you could say, well, the issue was blah, 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 blah. The solution was blah, 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 blah. And the chamber facilitated bringing together all the resources to affect the solution. That's not, hey, we're the government affairs committee. We're so great. We do all this good stuff. That's an example. It's an outcome that readers and people who say, I don't know what a Chamber of Commerce does, can look at that. And you can reuse that in your website, social media. That kind of stuff is gold and powerful for building a value proposition. Okay, strategy's done. Let's get practical. These are the 7 tips to help move your publication from a ritual publication to an asset. These are actionable. You can start right away and you don't have to go in any particular order. And by the way, you're going to get a PDF of these tips too after the webinar. Tip number 1, embrace who you are. Whether you're a tourist town, a bedroom community, a rural area, a growing city, or a major metro, lean into it. Stories that reflect your own town's heart and soul resonate so much more than data points. And critically, they give advertisers a defined audience to buy into. So, your Monday morning move, write one sentence that starts with, this community is the kind of place where. Don't finish it. Share it with your team. If you can't finish that sentence, that's your first writing project. Figure out who you are, embrace it, love it. Tip number 2, start with the 3 key questions. Before any publication, before any campaign, or actually any project, answer who, what, how. Remember, this is the planning framework and the sell story in the same 3 answers. So at your next publication planning meeting, don't start with the table of contents. Start with the 3 questions on a whiteboard or wherever. Don't move on until you have clean, specific answers. Tip number 3, include interviews with locals, residents, business owners, newcomers. Why did they move here? What keeps them here? What are their favorite places to go? Where do the locals go? That's gold stuff. Why did they start their business here? Why did they move their business here? It doesn't have to be long, just a couple sentences, but those are gold. Their words add emotional connection and they tell your community story in a way your staff never could. Pick 3 people this week, 1 resident, 1 business owner, 1 newcomer. 10-minute conversations. Record them on your phone. Most phones transcribe automatically now. On the iPhone version, iOS version, I don't know, 150, whatever it is. When you're on a phone call, or even you've got your voice recorder, just turn on the voice recorder. If you're on a phone call, you can click on the record the call and it'll say, I'm recording the call. You got to get permission to do that, but it'll transcribe it. So you don't even have to write it. It's right there. Tip number 4, collect and share those member and chamber success stories. Short and specific, did you know moments. A permit issue was solved. A partnership was made. Visibility was boosted. Now, we all know somebody, we all know people that they were invited to a mixer, a non-member, or these 2 people that, you know them, you thought if they got together, something good would happen. They met at a mixer and they started something together. That's gold stuff. How did the chamber help or facilitate the solution? Solution to something. Ultimately, just 2 or 3 sentences each, and they can come from the interviews in the previous tip. These stories can help answer the question, what's the chamber done for me lately? It answers it better than any mission statement really could. Email your team, your staff, your board, Ask them, send me one story, just 2 or 3 sentences about a member we helped in the last 90 days. Maybe even formalize a membership survey asking those questions. And don't do anything with the replies yet. Just start collecting them. Make it a habit to do that periodically and build that archive of stories that you could use. Tip number four. Tip number four told you to start collecting. Tip number five is how you keep doing it. Create a repeatable, I call it a greatest hits system. Build the process. It could be a shared spreadsheet, a shared folder for assets like pictures and stuff. Share them in newsletters, share them in reports, in the guide, on the website, social media. Make it a chamber highlights reel. It's always ready for funders, for new members, for partners, for board, what have you. Maybe create a spreadsheet, a shared spreadsheet named something like Chamber Greatest Hits, a Google Sheet, or something shared internally. Just 5 columns: the date, the name of the member, the topic, what it was, what's the story, and then the files folder where if you have any pictures or stuff that you're sharing or archiving, what folder is it in? Share that across the whole staff. That's it. That's a simple system that you can build to start storing this stuff. If you have to do it in an actual folder in your desk, fine. Start storing those things. And again, your transcripts too. Those are gold. Remember earlier I said print is cash intensive and that if your value proposition is weak, a publication may not hit the goal you think it will? Well, here's the tip that helps you fix that. Tip six is powerful and it's structural in building a chamber's value proposition. Tell a we asked, we listened, and we delivered story. Surveys are powerful storytelling tools. They're not just data. Find the top 3 issues that businesses in your community are facing. Find the resources within the membership to help solve those issues. Work through the top 3 issues with roundtables, resources, outside experts, wherever you can get them, and then publish the work. Promote it. We asked, you told us what matters, and here's what we did about it. This is the direct answer to what's the chamber done for me lately, and the direct answer to what does the Chamber of Commerce do? This honestly, this came out of COVID era for me. I belonged to a bunch of different chambers, and I was getting calls from several chambers asking me things like, how are you feeling? What's keeping you up at night? Keeping me up at night. I got so frustrated by the answer to one. There was a young lady that was calling. I said, gas keeps me up at night. She was so flustered. She said, "Oh, that was is such a golden opportunity to ask, like, what are the things that are holding your business back during that time? Of course, there were a lot of things going on. That's where that idea came from. Ask the meaningful questions, catalog them, categorize them, pick the top 3, and start addressing those. That's a powerful value proposition, and this is a big one. And I'm pretty passionate about it. Survey everyone in your database. What are the top issues holding back your business? Give them a few to select from and add an other so they can tell you if it's something else. Give them a field for notes or explain further. You'll see patterns emerge very quickly. Do it at your next few live events too. Have a slide with a QR code directly to the survey, asking people to scan and go to the survey right there at the meeting. Maybe it's a poll so people can see the answers right away on screen. Either way, you're capturing the data to guide the chamber on building relevance and its value proposition. This is important for CEOs. This is important for marketing people. It's important for membership people. It's all about the value proposition for the chamber. All right, I'll shut up. You can tell I'm really passionate about building value for a chamber. Okay, tip 7. You can't write? I can't write. I suck at writing, honestly. Then use AI to tell the stories. Don't let a lack of writing skills slow you down. Record the interviews, like I mentioned before, transcribe them on your phone, and the iPhone transcribes them already, and feed the transcripts to AI. The heart comes from you and your people. AI just writes it for you. You got to go through and you got to read the transcript because sometimes it doesn't understand things clearly. AI writes it for you. An important part of the work is teaching AI to sound like a human, not like AI. So, what does that mean? Set some guardrails. Tell it to use only the transcripts. Don't search the web. Don't invent anything. You remember that. You got to give it guardrails because otherwise it might start hallucinating and coming up with stuff that you're like, huh? They didn't say that. The guardrails will help. That single line protects you from hallucinations. Read the results because there are patterns in AI's writing style that quickly identify it as AI written. After you've done a few, you'll see what I mean, and you can craft some custom prompts to avoid those things. Write and continually refine the prompt. After a while, you'll have a good prompt and you'll be ready to process any transcript into a valuable blog post, social post, etc. What that means, you're creating your prompt, you're creating the guardrails. Once you have it set, then you can go into production. That means you take all these stories that you've been stacking up and start processing them right through that the prompt, and you'll get the stories that you're looking for. So here's another Monday morning move. Take one interview you've already recorded, upload the transcript to ChatGPT or Claude or whomever you use. Ask for a 300-word article with 2 pull quotes, and you'll have a draft in 90 seconds. If you do nothing else from this webinar, do this. Apply the 3 questions to your publication. Step 1, write down your answers. Who's it for? What are you saying? How are you going to reach them? Be specific. Step 2, look at what you're actually producing. Flip through your most recent publication page by page. And then step 3, compare it. If your answers don't match what's on the pages, there's your opportunity. That mismatch creates an opportunity to improve. Don't be discouraged. It's an opportunity to improve. And if your publication is struggling and there's conversation going around about maybe killing it, I suggest trying to breathe new life into it first. Use those 3 questions, do the surveys, ask people what's important. Print doesn't work for some communities, and that's okay. But try not to kill it before first trying to rebuild it. Okay, so if any of this resonated, there are 3 ways to keep going, all on your terms. Door number 1, we held back 15 more tips. You'll get a survey right after the webinar, and you'll get the 7 tips PDF. Please complete the survey. It helps. And a shameless ask, there'll be a little question there for a review. We're building our audience, and reviews really help. So if you feel inclined, if you got some benefit out of it, say a few good things. You can say some bad things too, whatever you want to say. I'd prefer good. Door 2, for the folks who really want to put this into practice, we're going to run a working session that unpacks every tip and sends you home with a toolkit. The questions to ask, the simple spreadsheet toolkit to track your stories, and the AI prompts built specifically for chamber storytelling. Door number 3, if you're sitting in the CEO seat or need to understand the financials, the same framework, but a different altitude, we go into the economics. We peek inside the budgets of high-performing chamber publications. We look at cost structures, we look at in-house versus turnkey, among other super exciting financial insights. Doesn't that sound sexy? Peek inside the budgets of high-performing chamber publications. You'll get a follow-up email with that info, with all this info. If it's not for you, share it with a colleague who might be interested. Pick the one that matches where you are. Remember, sometimes the biggest opportunity isn't something new. It's getting more out of something you already have. That wraps it up for the presentation. Let's ask for some questions if people have questions. Remember, put them into the Q&A or into the chat.